I think the most common questions human beings ask one another are the way I'm phrasing this already sounds like some kind of alien who's studying our species, but I think the most common questions people ever get asked are what are your favorite or least favorite somethings? Or what's the best or worst blank? Example, what's your favorite food? What's your least favorite movie? What's the worst date you've been on? What's the best note you can hit when singing? For me, it's this. That kind of thing. It's a super common question everybody asks someone new that they're meeting for the first time, but it's a question that I feel 99% of people don't have an answer to because it's pretty difficult to choose one answer to those questions because it's not something you really think about. But I am not 99% of people, sheep. I am 99% gamer. So I've always tried to come up with an answer to every conceivable question that goes in this format, and last night on stream, chat asked me, what is the worst pain I've ever experienced in my life? And I didn't even have to think hard about it because I already knew. The worst pain I've ever experienced in my life was a urethral swab at like a standard STD checkup at my urologist. An STD checkup I didn't need, mind you. I wasn't down there sporting anything alarming, but I got it just because he asked. And being a hypochondriac, anytime I'm asked to do like testing or whatever, I just give it a big old thumbs up and say, let's run it. And what a mistake that was. He informed me that it was going to be a urethral swab for this procedure, and this being my first time doing an STD check, I thought it was standard protocol, and in my head I pictured that it'd just be like a really tiny doohickey that he'd stick into the tip of my wiener hole and pull it out, and that'd be that. But my worst nightmares couldn't have prepared me for the gizmo he brought out. It wasn't small. This man armed himself with a medieval pike with a cotton ball on the end. And I knew right away this was going to turn into something so much worse than I could have possibly envisioned. I talked about it on stream as well as another similar experience, so I'll go ahead and play those clips. But it really is horrible, so I want to front load this by letting you know, never do a urethral swab under any circumstances. My voice is cracking out of fear just reminiscing on this. I swear to God, he brought out like a fucking train spike to shove down there. Like, he basically got out like a wooden spike like he was trying to drive it through the heart of a vampire through my cock. It was brutal. And I think it did cause like serious damage. What's the worst injury you've ever had? Thanks, Resubsagi. You're gonna think I'm memeing, but I'm being super serious. I made a whole video on this. I got a urethral swab, and it is probably still to date one of the worst pains I've ever felt. I went to a urologist for just like a general checkup thing, and for some reason he decided to administer a urethral swab, and I had never felt such excruciating agony. Didn't you say you had a wet dream right after the urethral swab too? It's been so long now, I can't remember if I had a wet dream. I think I did. Because I vaguely do remember coming and it being really bad from it. But I can't remember if I, like, jerked or if I had a wet dream. It's been too long now. But the thing is, like, he put it in and then he, like, swishes it around. Just, like, tearing it up to cause maximum damage. And then I was just bleeding for days. I had to call in a prescription for some kind of, like, penile injury thing. Why didn't you request a female doctor, or did you not care? From my urologist? What am that's the creepiest thing ever. Excuse me. Can you please fetch a woman for this? I'd like to show her my package during this examination. Of course I wouldn't fucking do that. No. And I hope you don't do that. Excuse me. Can you get a nurse to come swab my penis with her mouth? Yeah, that's... I don't... Have you never been to a urologist? It's not like porn, man. You're there for a purpose. Did you ask your doctor why he was spelunking in your junk? No, I went home in pain. I never went back. After he urethral swabbed me, I went to another urologist the next time I needed to go somewhere for it. Anywhere but there. He's a recent boss. I even looked it up, and this was 7 years ago, mind you. And even at the time, they're like, urethral swabs are obsolete. Nobody does these anymore. If anyone suggests it, you can just decline. No one should be suggesting it. Like, it's so outdated. And yet, this guy annihilated me with it. It was so bad. I don't remember if I said this in the story I made on it 7 years ago. It was so bad that I was afraid of peeing. So what I did is I went to Publix, fucking bloody trousered because my wiener wouldn't stop bleeding, and I bought an entire box of salted pumpkin seeds because it was the highest salt content thing I could find, and I just hammered pumpkin seeds all night so that way I wouldn't pee, because when I did, it was horrible. Horrible. Bro, you got griefed. No, for sure, though. Like, again, even 7 years ago, that was obsolete. Sounding is not for me. Yeah, I learned that day. That is not my kink. What's wild is, I even made a video on this. What did I call it? I think I called it Urethral Swab 2.0. What's wild is, only like a year and a half after my initial urethral swab, I ended up going to a different urologist, and they recommended me getting a cystoscopy. I think they were looking for like a kidney stone or something, and a cystoscopy is basically shoving like a long wire with a camera at the end through your urethra to get like a better look at your bladder. So, while I still had like the trauma from this still being like moderately fresh, I then went in there to the cystoscopy, not really knowing that's what it was at the time. And then he's got this like giant apparatus with this cord, and I'm like, oh no, it's happening again. And he just right in my wiener. But it had a steering wheel. So he even had the monitor set up so I could like watch it. And I was like, I'm not gonna really tune into this program that much, I'm gonna be honest with you, Doc. But he had like the steering wheel to like control it while I was inside. And he's just driving my my cock as he's looking around internally. And that didn't hurt nearly as bad or bleed nearly as bad as just this urethral swab. And they wasn't even close. This was still so much fucking worse. Bro, what did he even use? It sounds like you make it sound like he was diving around with a sandpaper wrapped fondue fork. It wasn't even like what he used wasn't soft. He used like a hard plastic thing with like a bit of cotton on the end, and then just fucking jamming it all around like he was trying to kill me with it. He was sim racing inside your penis. Yeah, no, man was straight up fucking multi-track drifting in there. It was a really cool device. Let me see if I can find it, because it actually was like a steering wheel from the cord. So I was like watching him like, do some of this. It was wild. I definitely can't pull any of this up on stream. But yeah, it was one of these right here. I guess it's not so much a steering wheel per se, because it doesn't have handles on both sides. Well, no, it does. He had the gamer version. That's true. He was probably on the Logitech cystoscopy tube cord. You had a whole episode of Magic School Bus. Yeah. Moral of the story, though, don't get a urethral swab. Wow, I struggle with that word a lot. The cystoscopy wasn't too bad. That was discomfort for a little while. This was misery for days. I don't think many of you are like scratching at your neck ready to set up a urethral swab appointment, but just in case you were. You should have asked for your turn in the wheel. I remember at the time, I don't remember who said it, but they said I should ask for the footage to make a video out of it. And I was like, that's kind of a fire idea. Let me take you inside my bladder. Did you leave a bad review for your old urologist? No. I've never left a bad review for anything in my life except for one time when I was in middle school. I left a bad review for an Xbox 360 game I got, and I was so mad I posted on the on the GameStop website. Left it a bad review. What game? What was it called? It was called like Agent Monster Mayhem or something. It was not a popular game at all. I remember the box art had like a lot of like characters on it. I think it was a party game for the 360. It was early into the 360 too. It was very early.
For the on-screen.
Oh, it was this.
Ah, perfection.
Move by tilting the left stick. Turn.
Yeah, I hated this game. This is the only thing I've ever left a bad review on in my life. Do you think your review is still online, and could you find it? Let's see. I'd know it if I saw it, but I don't think GameStop does reviews on their site anymore. I remember I said... I used profanity, so maybe they deleted it, because I remember I said, like, the game sucked shit. How is it so bad? I don't know, I just remember hating it. I couldn't even remember the game's name. I don't know what made it so bad, but I really thought it was trash.